I was invited to do a piece here in Milano. I don't often work in Europe, so coming from my part of the world, I decided to maybe leave behind the practices and the type of materials I use typically, which are temporary materials. Mostly, at least in my early years, I worked a lot with materials that degraded very quickly. Maybe it was not a coincidence that I met with Margraf and decided to work with marble, with stone, which at the outset is exactly in complete opposition with the materials I use and the type of work I do. I've never worked with stone. The installation is quite simple because the two ends of the cylinder are very obvious and very direct references. One being the Vitruvian Man, and it represents, if anything, the permanence of stone. And it's used in artistic practices and architecture traditionally. At the other end of the cylinder is that same person, or because the Vitruvian Man in our installation, if you look very closely at his face, you'll recognize the face of the performer in the video, which is at the other end of the tube. Taken in the most vulgar position in his bed, in his most intimate space. So there's sort of a will to celebrate the banal. It's almost, if anything, something that reflects very much the contemporary trends today, which tend to, where we see the celebration of very banal situations at the total opposite of the traditional practices of art. In between the two conditions is the visitor that sort of experiences this in a sort of an acrobatic way, because you're walking in this circular section of 2 meters. Well, it's an experiential piece. It's a piece that one experiences. It's not a piece that one contemplates and looks at, and I think that's important. I think that the visitor will be being halfway between these two conditions, the absolute frozen, cut in stone situation of the marble statue, and on the other hand, the volatility of the video, putting in situation the visitor in between these two extreme conditions is, in my opinion, will be quite an interesting experience.